everybody and welcome back to my channel. I hope you are doing so well today. I hope today's been treating you well. In today's video I'm going to be diving into another ODENS eye palette. I recently got their mystery bundle, whatever it was called, the mystery box. I will leave that video linked right up here, and I tested out another palette that I got in the box. But today we're moving on to a different palette, and then I've got one more to do after this one. But I'm so excited because I was so impressed with the formula in that last video with the last palette that I tested, and this one is purple, and I mean look at me. I am loving purple at the minute, so I'm really excited to try this one out. This is the ODENS Eye and Angelica Nyquist Little Ghost palette, and that's what the outer packaging looks like, which is just beautiful. And it's in a sleeve, and the inside is just as beautiful. And then look at these shades. I am so excited to swatch all of these, and I'm going to be creating some sort of purpley, maybe a bit blue, maybe a bit red, maybe a bit bright yellow eye look. We're going to be using this one today, so let's go ahead and do some swatches. So on the top row we have got Banana Taffy, which is a bright matte yellow. Then we've got Little Ghost, which is a deep matte purple. And then we've got Ominous, which is a purple shimmer. I don't believe that this is a duochrome. I'm not sure. It does just look like a regular shimmer. And by regular shimmer, I mean beautiful shimmer. But they do have duochromes in these palettes, and I think that this is just a regular shimmer. Then next up we have got Licorice, which is the deepest, darkest purple matte that I think I have ever seen in my life, but that is a beautiful shade. Then we've got Skeleton, which is a pastel, very pastel. Let me go in with another layer. A pastel lilac, but it's almost just like the lightest grey with the tiniest hint of lilac. Then we've got Zombie, which is a purple, and these shimmers are honestly so creamy, so buttery and reflective and like catching the light so incredibly. That colour is beautiful, matches my headband. I love. Then this is the shade that I was instantly drawn to in the palette, but I'm actually, like, I could tell on my finger, I was a little bit underwhelmed by this. This is the shade Boo, and it's beautiful, yes, like it is shifty, but it's nowhere near the sort of opacity as the other shimmers. It's almost like a topper, which is fine. But how incredible would that shift have been if it was like really opaque like one of the others? So that was the shade Boo. Did I say that? Boo. Then we've got Haunted House, which is a deep navy matte. That is so rich. That colour is incredible. Then we've got Cobweb. Ooh, and that's like creamy. That's like ivory. That's a beautiful shade. That would make the perfect inner corner highlight for a pale skin gal such as myself. Then next up, the next three are all blues. We are into that little blue section. So this one is called Ghoulish, and this is a very pastel light blue matte. Then we've got Creepy, which is a shimmer, and again really creamy, really smooth feeling. and really, really reflective. And then we've got Haunted, which is a beautiful, beautiful, like dusky blue. It's almost like grey toned. It's more muted than like, it's not a really bright blue. It's like a slightly desaturated blue, I suppose. Really, really pretty though. And then onto the last row. These ones are all like orangey peachy. So this one is called Magical, and this is that duochrome sort of a formula. So it's pink and orange, as that's like catching the light. Let me do another little layer. This is, it's not the same amount of pigment as like this shimmer or this shimmer. It's not the same as that, but it's not as bad as Boo. Boo really disappointed me. Then we've got Candy Corn, which is a matte orange, but this is almost like a burnt orange. Like, that feels very wearable to me. I love that shade. Then we've got Screech, and this is another shimmer. Yeah, see? And that one, first swipe, feels really pigmented like those other ones. It doesn't have the duochrome shift necessarily that Magical has, but that's a lot more like pigmented straight off the bat. And then the last shade in the palette is a matte, almost like burgundy toned brown. Like, it's a very red toned brown, and that one is called Broomstick. So if I hold that up there and try and keep a little bit still, you might be able to see that shift with some of these shades. I can't lie, I'm definitely disappointed in Boo. Like, when I first saw that shade, I was like, absolutely, but it's more of a topper formula. Like, if that shift was in this sort of creamy shimmer formula, I would have just, I mean, it's probably for the best, because I probably would have just lost my mind. But let me go ahead and zoom you in and we can create some sort of an eye look. I was certain I was going to use those purples, but now I'm not so sure. Let's zoom you in. Okay, so I've already got the P. Louise eye base on, and my brows, of course, and these reusable eye patches, which I've just been using so much recently. These are from Catrice, and my hay fever do be hay fevering today, and my eyes are leaking. So we are just going to try our best with what we've got going on. Okay, I hope that that is acceptable. For colours, I think what I want to do is more of these blues, because I'm thinking blues for the mattes, and then this shimmer, that purple shimmer, that first one, because it does have a bit of a blue, like when it catches the light. And then we'll see how I feel, but I might do that yellow on the inner corner, because I don't have anywhere to be today. I'm just going downstairs to have my tea, so we can just go a little bit crazy and try it out. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to go in with, this is stained, it's not already got some colour on it. I'm just going to go in with a more dense brush into the shade Ghoulish, that light blue matte, and I'm going to pack this through the crease, really, really pack it on to that eye base to try and keep this really vibrant. I have also made a little bit of a mistake in that I tried the New Revolution bronzing drops today mixed in with my moisturiser, and then I realised I'm probably going to have to like wipe under my eyes with like some micellar water, so I will probably end up with a little bit of a two-toned face, but it doesn't matter. I can absolutely make it work. So I'm just really packing this matte shade on through the crease with this more dense brush, and I'll go in with something a little bit fluffier just to just to blend, you know. So that pastel is really like showing up nicely. It's not like blending away. I feel like that's an impactful pastel. I really, really like that shade. That for spring. I like that one. So I'm just going to use the same brush, but more like right on the tip. I'm going to go into Haunted, which was that one that I said was more of a dusky blue, and I'm going to keep this a little bit further down and not so far in. I'll just take this sort of halfway, and then again just going back in with that big fluffy brush just to dust over the top of both of those colours, and as suspected, they are blending beautifully. I do feel like this is probably quite a good test for like the quality of these shadows, because blues are really difficult to work with and formulate. They often go patchy quite easily, so I feel like the fact that these ones are just laying down so easily and like blending so easily. I know I'm only 2 shades in, but they're both blue, and blue is difficult to get right, so this is like really showing you that these are a really, really great formula. So just going in with an even smaller but quite fluffy brush, and I'm going into Haunted House, that darkest blue, and I'm going to keep this right on the lid and on like the outer sort of third. That blue is incredible. Okay, that darkest blue is incredible, as suspected. That is a beautiful, beautiful, rich, deep shade that is so, so pretty and so pigmented, but also it is blending in. Like, it's blending in really, really nicely. Sorry. I'm forgetting where I am. I'm holding the mirror up in front of me. It's blending in beautifully, but also staying so incredibly deep and dark, like right on that outer corner. I feel like I need a clean brush just to go into that lightest blue again. Just really want to intensify that light blue further in. It's beautiful. It's like a sunset, but blue. Am I making any sort of sense? Probably not. I'm getting overexcited, as always. Overexcited about eyeshadow. Welcome to my channel if you're new here. So, I'm happy with how that is all looking, I do believe. Yeah, happy with that. It's very blue, it's very bright. I love. So, I'm trying to think, what do I want to do next? On my last video when I was testing out that other palette, I'm sure somebody commented underneath it saying to use a glitter glue. Now I have one, but it's the Sample Beauty Glitz Glue, which I like, but I feel like my eyes are quite sensitive at the minute, so I'm wondering if I can just go in with a little bit more of my eye base instead of the glue before I go in with that shimmer, that purple shimmer. We can only try. So let's just take a little bit of this on the back of my hand, just a tiny little bit of the same eye primer that I had on before, which is the P. Louise base in Rumour 01. Oh, throwing things absolutely everywhere in my excitement. And I'm just going to take this and not really carve out, but just tap a little bit more of this on so that it's really tacky where I want to put that shimmer. So I don't necessarily want this to be like sharp or anything, but I just feel like I need something a little bit tacky for the shimmer to like properly grab onto, so that's equal enough. I'm just, am I going to use my finger or am I going to use a brush? I'm going to use my finger, and I actually think I'm going to go in with that slightly lighter one on the inner, or am I? What do I want? I might just go in with that lighter one anyway. Zombie. This shade here. Just going with a bit of that on my finger and press this onto that base. Yes. See, that's a beautiful, beautiful colour. That's really pretty. So I have laid that colour down with my finger, and I'm just pressing over like the join all around the edges with that first dense brush. I feel like putting that eye base down definitely helped. We are looking reflective. I really like how this is turning out. Right, do I want anything else? I might actually put a bit of that blue shimmer, that one, which is called Creepy. I might just tap a little bit of this, again just with my finger, over in between the dark blue and that shimmer, just to get those to sort of join together a little bit better. Oh, that's a beautiful shade as well. That's a really pretty shade. That's almost like it is doing what I need that to do, like melting those two shades together. That's beautiful. I feel like I'm always scared of blue because I've been burned before with blue eyeshadow palettes. If you weren't around for that Juvia's Place blue eyeshadow palette, then just know it was a whole disaster. But this is beautiful. Considering I was so sad about that boo shade not being what I wanted it to be, I am really impressed. Do I go in with a bit of that boo shade over the top of all of this, or will that ruin it? Or are we here for a good time, not a long time? So we may as well. Like, it doesn't even really show up all that much on my finger. Like, it's definitely more like a topper, which is fine. I've got something tickling my eye. It's a cat hair. Yeah, it's fine having toppers, but I feel like this shimmer formula is so beautiful. I was really, really hoping that this would be like that, so I'm just going to tap this over the top of all of it, basically. Let's hope for the best. It's made a little bit of a difference, but not all that much. And actually, in that last video that I did, somebody commented saying, can you come back in a couple of months once you've had more time to play and like report back if these go hard pan. I'm already feeling that this boo shade is like, it's getting there. Like, if I show you that real close up, can you see that boo shade? It is going a little bit hard pan. And like, you can see the difference in texture with like this shimmer and this one. They're more creamy, they're more sort of, I was about to say crumbly, but that makes it sound like a bad thing, and I don't mean it in a bad way. They're just a different formula. Like, you can feel that it's a very different texture as you're like running your finger over it. Yeah, I feel like that's added a nice little bit of shiftiness. So again, just buff over with that first brush, and I think just a tiny little bit more of that darkest blue, that matte haunted house shade. I am honestly obsessed with this colour. It's so like vibrant. I love that. So just pack a little bit more of that right onto the outer corner. I'm also very aware that like as I clean this up, I'm gonna lose like a lot of that depth out here, and I want this to stay quite dark and blue. So just packing a little bit more of that onto there, and then like I say, I've put those bronzing drops on, so under here is probably a different skin tone. Right, one moment. So just got some micellar water on a little cotton pad here, and let's clean this up. That looks so good. Oh, that looks so good with the sharp line. I love it. I expected no less, but I love it. Okay, so that's how that's looking now that it's all cleaned up. I'm definitely like a slightly different skin tone there, where that has like taken off the bronzing drops that I'd put on. Oh my goodness, right, and I also got a comment on a recent video saying that you wanted to see the application of everything else. You don't want me to go off and come back in my full glam. You want to see everything that I've got on, so I'm going to do that today. I'm going to go in with a liquid liner. This is the 17 Ink Legend Tattoo eyeliner. This is just the black one, so I'm going to do a big old wing. For mascara, I'm going to go in with the Revolution Wispify False Lash Mascara. This is like past its best now, but we're gonna make it work. I do want quite a lot of mascara on today, so hopefully this is nice and thick. So build up a nice hearty amount of mascara as always. I feel like a real professional in this situation, like with this amount of glam, would go in with false lashes, but it's just not happening, okay? I am not a false lash kind of gal. I just can't do it. So, foundation. I have nothing out on my table. I am not prepared for this. So, foundation, I'm going to go in with the Catrice True Skin Hydrating Foundation, and somewhere on my table, I've got a sponge. Where? That is a great question. It's here. It's here. So, just going to put it on the palm of my hand. Obviously, normally I would put it on the back, but the back is currently occupied. So, taking my sponge and getting rid of all this redness in my cheeks. The overexcited redness. Can anyone else relate? And then I'm also just going to use the same concealer. So the foundation I had in 004 Neutral Porcelain, and the concealer I've got in 002 Neutral Ivory. So this is ever so slightly lighter and brighter, and I'm just tapping a tiny little bit because if you haven't tried this concealer, it's a lot of coverage. And I'm just going to use the same sponge and tap this in. Obviously it's me, so I am going to be doing some sort of a smoky under eye of sorts. I don't know what as of yet, but I'm feeling like I want to keep the skin more matte and like quite simple and quite sort of clean, and then the eyes are like bam, you know. So just gonna tap this right up to that inner corner. Just gonna go over the brows with the brow gel that I used, which is the Collection Glue one. What's it called? Brow Glue Incredibrow. And I have this in dark brunette, just because I always feel like I get foundation in my brows and I need all the help I can get with my brows. So just going over with that brow gel so that they are popping. Then for bronzer, like I say, I want like the skin to be quite matte, so going in with the Relove Super Bronzer, which is very, very matte, and going to find these cheekbones again. They're there somewhere. Give me a moment to find them. Okay, that's better. I've got cheekbones again, and I've also found the sides of my nose with that matte bronzer. I'm feeling like this is a lot of coverage. I need blush. And again, a matte blush. This is the MUA Blushed Matte Blush Powder, and this is in Dusky Rose. So take a little bit of this, put it on a little bit of that, add more colour back, but where I want the colour to be, not everywhere, you know? You know. So for the lip, I wanted to try this. First impression, the Colourpop So Juicy lip liner, and this is in Love That, which is a very sort of light nude. So let's see how this goes. Oh, it smells minty. It smells like chewing gum. That is a very, very light, cool toned colour. I think it works for this, but that will maybe be too light for like an everyday vibe for me. I'm just going to go over with a little bit of the Lottie London Oil Slick lip oil. Just got a little mini. It's really cute. Just want a little bit right in the middle. I like that. It is minty though. It is like tingling. So I'm going to do something under the eyes. I'm gonna go in with that first dense brush, and I think I'm just gonna go into Haunted, that dusky like mid blue, and I'm just gonna run that all the way along the lower lash line, a little something like that. And do I want some of that dark blue right on the outer corner as well, on the lower lash line? Probably, we're here, so I might as well. Just the tiniest little bit, because that is such a richly pigmented colour. Yeah, I do like that though. Ties it in nicely. So then just a little bit more mascara on the lower lashes, and then I think I'm gonna pack that yellow right on the inner corner. So I think what I'm going to do is take quite a dense, small little brush, and do I want to put a bit of eye primer on? I think we'd better do. So this is what it's looking like just with those blues and purples. I honestly love how that's turned out. I really want to try that yellow though. That yellow is just calling out to be put right on that inner corner. So I'm just going to take the tiniest little amount, and I'm not going to blend it onto my eye with my finger. I'm going to take a little brush and just pack that primer right onto there where I want that yellow to be really intense. So I'll just tap that in. Don't know why I'm doing that, like really fine work with a mirror that's 2 foot away from me. And then taking a really dense little brush. In fact, I'm going to take an even littler brush, and I'm going to just go straight into that Banana Taffy for science. For science. It's very dusty though, so Let's see. So, little bit of fallout, but really, considering the intensity of that colour, not much. Not much at all. I love that even more with that yellow. I love it. Ah. So that is me done. I've got a bright yellow in a corner, I've got a big black wing, I've got purple and blue duochrome glitters across the eye. What more could a gal want? I am actually thrilled with how this has turned out. So I would love to know your thoughts down below. If you have this palette, what colour combinations do you love putting together? And also, if you have this palette, is that boo shade disappointing to you as well? Because I just feel like I wanted so much more from it. Like, this palette is incredible and that boo shade is just... If you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, but until next time, thank you ever so much for watching. Bye!